about building bench strength, which seems to be a common thing for a lot of people. And I just want to kind of share some things today, so I made some notes. Let me share my screen. So building bench strength. Building bench strength is how many people could fill in if you're going to lose a junior instructor, an assistant, even one of your main instructors. Are you in a position to say next man up, or are you in a position where it's going to cause a little stress because there's no one really sitting on the bench that is ready to step in that place, which I would say probably 90% of the schools that I talk to run into, especially schools that are focused a lot on kids. They have a lot of kids. They don't have too many teens. They have a few adults. And when they're looking for bench strength, they're really looking for someone who's 18 or over to kind of take over, that if they had to teach and you had to leave the building, at least you have an adult in the building. Or if you're going to do an event like a parent side out, you've got an adult to actually take care of that. Building bench strength is a different, totally different mindset. So I kind of want to just kind of ask yourself a couple questions. You just want to write these questions. And what would I like? What would I like in replacements or bench strength? Do I want teenage and young adults with teaching skills? Is that who I want on my bench? I know this is a big one. Teens that are responsible and would love to have a part-time job. A lot of the people I talk to, one of their complaints is that when they hire teens, they're just not responsible. They don't take work seriously. They don't mind if they just don't show up. They don't even call them when they're late. If they lost their part-time job, it's no big deal. They don't really feel any loyalty, and they're just going to go on to something else. If it's flipping burgers or doing whatever, that's where their level of responsibility is. Would you like an adult that would like a career in martial arts? People who run their school kind of usually fall into two categories. One is they're looking for career-minded martial artists. They're looking to replace themselves. They love teaching martial arts, but at some time they're going to want to step away. They may want to go for a weekend. They may want to take a month off. And how could I do that unless I have a career-minded adult? I really can't have just part-timers. There's other people who just say, hey, I want to maximize the income from my school. I plan on teaching. I plan on being here. I'm young. I'm energetic. I'm just going to get some part-timers. My expenses are going to be really, really low, and I'm going to make a lot of profit from my school. Would you like people that are totally loyal to your school? In other words, I've hired people from the outside. I've hired people from the inside. Loyalty is a big deal. Loyalty, so they totally believe into your vision. They really bought into the mission of the school. If there's a little personality challenge between you and them, or them and another instructor, they're less likely to walk out. The big picture for them is the students, the school, what the school is all about. Personal problems, okay, we can overcome that, but I really have a loyalty to the mission of this school. So I think it's really important for you to have total clarity on who you would like to hire, what type of person that would be. Would they be part-time or full-time? What type of personality skills would they be? What type of character they have? Character is huge. So I think it'd be really important to write all this down and become totally clear in your mind. If you're not clear in your mind, when you meet the right person, you don't recognize it as the right person. Taking this into a simpler mode, I remember Charles Jarnigan was looking for someone at his front counter. And I said to Charles, what does he or she look like? What type of personality? If you went into a Starbucks or someplace to get to a coffee, or go to a store to buy some supplies, and all of a sudden you're talking to that person, would you recognize this is the type of person that I'd want to hire? So if you did find someone, would you recognize that person? Step one in building a school with bench strength is to switch your goals from building black belts to now your goal is developing instructors. And you can do both. I mean, again, we're a martial arts school. We want to develop black belts. But at the same time, I don't think we really think about developing instructors. When you start thinking about developing black belts, you have a certain curriculum that they have to learn. You're testing them every month for stripe testing. You have strike tests or belt tests every 3 months. You have a plan. They have to do a certain required curriculum for each level, and that's what's going to make them into a black belt. Well, what type of curriculum do you have for developing instructors? Is it laid out like that? Do they have step by step by step that's going to bring them into a new instructor? So you kind of paint a new picture. What does my ideal instructor look like? Instead of rank, what are the steps up the ladder? Number one, as I sent an email before I started writing this out this morning to Paul Garcia. I go, Paul, I have a couple questions. Do you have separate teen classes? Do teens train with adults, or do teens train with kids? At the same time, what age group do you have for junior instructors, and what age group do your regular instructors fall into? Because I really want to see the age group that he's targeting. He does have curriculum for teens. He has separate classes for teens. So he has really built a program around the ideal person that he wants to get as an instructor. When you start thinking about how do I attract more teens, what would have to be the cool factor? A lot of teens, when they come into a class and all of a sudden you're doing things that are really good with the kids and you're doing the student creed and you do certain things, teens may feel that's corny. Kids who are doing video games, the kids that are doing parkour, the kids that are doing skateboarding, things like that, kind of the athletic teens, they get an environment into where you have, say, 6 years old to 14 years old. They don't fit. It's no longer cool. It's silly. They don't want friends to know that they're taking martial arts, and they're in a class full of kids. Not only the curriculum, what's your curriculum going to look like? Is it going to be forms? Or are you going to be a little more eclectic, that maybe is a little more challenging for teens? I want to start thinking about someone who's doing parkour and someone doing martial arts. Parkour has that athletic ability. Martial arts isn't always athletic. It's just simple punching, blocking, and kicking. Is that enough to really stimulate a teenager? What benefits are you teaching in class? Are you teaching the benefits that you want in a future instructor? So I want my teenagers to be responsible. So the benefits that I teach in class, the life skills I teach in class may be different than the kids. It's respect and courtesy is more important, but being helpful to people, sharing knowledge, being outgoing, being responsible, knowing what it means to show up on time. These are all benefits that teenagers can learn. Class times. Are the class times that you have in your school such that teens can make it? Or is your teenage class at 7:30 at night and parents come in? I know you're a teenager, but I don't want you going on school nights 7:30 to 8:30, 9 o'clock. You're going to come up. You're going to be all hyper and everything like that. You're not going to want to fall asleep. You have to be up at 6 o'clock to go to school. So make sure you have times that are convenient for kids and they're also okay with the parents. What does the instructor look like? Does it seem like a teen is taking lessons with his grandfather? Or is a teen training with someone in their low 20s to mid 20s who's high energetic, a good athlete, a role model for that teen? So we got to think about the curriculum. We got to think about the benefits. We got to think about class times. You have to think about the instructor. When I hired a teen instructor in Florida, I hired this guy, Chris Russo. Chris was probably 25 years old, maybe a little bit younger. He's really built. He was strong. He looked like a surfer. He had long blonde hair. The other teens go, wow, this guy is really, really cool. Totally different than taken from me. I was like taken from their grandfather. And all of a sudden now we have some totally cool guy who's just a little bit older than a teen, and he really rocked the classes. What about the cost for your teen classes? if we really want to get teens, because teens are our future, the teens are the ones that become instructors, do we want them to not be able to take because of cost? You know, parents love their teens, they not necessarily like them. So all of a sudden a teen comes and they've been giving the parent a hard time and things like that. Now the teen goes, I want to start taking martial arts classes. I think this would be really cool. Parent goes, how much is it? It's $200 a month. Well, the parent or a grandparent of a little kid may think $200 is worth it. But for a teen who's also got a cell phone and this and this and this, costs may be prohibitive. So do you have a lower cost program possibly for a teen? Is there a way a teen could work for part of his classes? You know, I really want to get teens, so I'm going to do anything to get some young teens in my class. I want kids 14, 15 years old that I can groom to be a 16, 17-year-old instructor. Hey, if I could get them to say, okay, we have a classes, it's $69 a month. You do have to come in once a week, though. We do flyer runs. So, you know, what we do is we make it affordable for teens by giving you some things that you have to assist along with the school. And that's how we keep the cost so low. I'm just rambling on with those. So I'm just trying to think of ways that I can make my program more affordable for teens. I mean, I would just charge less. Now, I want the teens. I know these are my future instructors. Maybe I'm just going to cost them less. So how long does it take to train a teenager or a young adult to become an instructor? I don't know. I don't think it takes 3 years to become it may take 3 years to become a black belt, but it doesn't take 3 years to become an instructor. I started at a new church a year ago. 6 months later, I was doing a mission team. I mean, I didn't get to a point where I'm a pastor or minister of the church, but I could get really involved and do some stuff in the church. So I think I could build responsibility, respect pretty quick. What could I do to have them be a part-timer or a volunteer starting from the beginning? Another thing I would want to think about my teens, how can I make them feel like they belong and add value? This type of mindset kind of replaces your mindset of how am I going to get them to black belt and memorize all this stuff. It's not memorizing all this stuff. It's get them to a position where they can present skills, they can teach skills, they can be a good example. They don't have to be a black belt. I'm looking for people to fill my bench. So maybe the first thing that's a requirement for your students is they volunteer to assist in graduation. Well, what does this mean? Well, maybe they're opening the door for parents. Maybe when you line up all the kids for graduation, they're going around whispering to the kids, making sure the kids aren't fidgeting and sitting in line. Maybe they're writing the names on the black belt. Maybe they're volunteering to come in for Parents Night Out. Hey guys, I need a couple of volunteers for Parents Night Out. This is one of the ways you can work to pay for your classes. I just want to make sure that we have plenty of teens on the floor to keep the kids entertained and keep the kids safe. Maybe they volunteer for a promotional booth. They help you set up the booth, tear it down. They're handing out business cards as they walk around whatever facility you are for a promotional booth. They're just out there working it. Maybe they're doing flyer runs. I know this is a big thing I did with my school in Florida. I would take the teens out into neighborhoods. I would drop a couple off each street. They would walk to the end of the street handing out flyers. I would pick them up at the end of the street and take them to a different street. Maybe they're doing marketing. I've got 100 locations of marketing cards, and one of the things they're volunteering is on Saturdays, they're going to go to 25 stores, and they're going to replace the marketing cards. But you're immediately getting your students involved into some type of work within your school. This volunteering is helping them learn responsibility. If you tell them, hey, I need you at the graduation at 6 o'clock because I want you to line up all the kids, well, they're learning responsibility that they have to be there. And not only they have to be there, they have to be there by 6. And not only do they have to be there in 6, they have to have a perfectly looking uniform, belt tied correctly, and they've got a smile on the face. So all these volunteers are not just helping you, you're using these volunteer areas to mold the kids into having that type of responsibility and looking forward to working with you. It also gives them that feeling of community, because now they're part of your school. They're not just a kid that takes classes there, but you rely on them so they feel some loyalty building to your school. Well, this could go on for the first 3 months, 4 months of them as a student. And then you start thinking, hey, after 4 months, I want them to be part of my demo team. I want them to get out there and bang out some kicks and do some pad drills. And so I'm going to make them part of my demo team. They're going to feel really special because we're going to allow them to buy a demo team uniform. You're either going to charge a little for this or just make them part of the demonstration team. Give them something to do maybe once a month during graduation. They assisted in graduation, and now they're actually part of the demo team, and you're highlighting. Again, teaching them responsibility, making them feel really good about themselves. They know that you trust them. They know that you're looking out to give them more responsibility. So you're making them feel more important and special. Well, now you start thinking about their curriculum. So I'm teaching them the forms, I'm teaching them the self-defense, but this isn't instructor training. This is the class training, the curriculum for your teens. I'm going to teach them communication skills. So part of the thing about being a leader or being a part of this team is learn communication. So I'm going to have different leaders lead the class in the exercises. They're going to lead the class in the warm-ups. We're going to break into small groups, and we're going to practice and going to have a chance to become leaders of a small group. We're going to teach them leadership skills. You may just model a book, a Zig Ziglar book, maybe a See You at the Top. Take the leadership lessons from that, and you're going to teach those to your teen class. You're going to have them do speaking. Maybe part of their stripe testing or graduation, they're going to get up and just explain what the martial arts has done for them. They're going to explain why other people do martial arts. So you're giving them opportunity to stand up in front of crowds. Well, that's an important part of a teen growing up through the martial arts. It's also a skill that you want your future instructors in your bench to do. Maybe they're going to learn how to VIP. And most schools don't do VIPs, but one of the things is helping market the school. So I want to teach you how to VIP a friend. I want to teach you how to VIP classmates. And your responsibility for your next belt is to invite 3 kids in over 3 months to try a class. They don't have to enroll. I just want you out there talking about our program and inviting them in. So you have to bring 1 person a month for 3 months. So that's a different way of thinking on curriculum. It's not just a punching, blocking, kicking, memorization. It's the skills and responsibilities that you're looking for people sitting on the bench. So maybe now the next step is their Delta. So now 9 months, a year into your program, they're on the demo team and also in Delta. Delta being dedicated, loyal, enthusiastic, loyal teachers' assistants. So now the responsibilities are coming in for a kids class and making sure the kids are lined up, making sure all the kids' belts are tied, making sure that if any kids in class have the wrong foot back, they're helping them. So now within the first year, they're not assistant instructors, they're assisting an instructor. So it's Delta, they're teachers' assistants. Hey, I need someone to pick up the pads. David, go run and get the pads. We're doing something in class. Okay, David, can you take Steve over there and just review his front kicks? They're just assistants in class. Next step up the ladder, 18 months, they're an assistant instructor. They can coach a small group. They've been here for 12, 15 months. I would say 12 months, they should be able to go to assistant instructor. You don't have to be a black belt to be assistant. If I'm a blue belt or a green belt, I can go in there and become an assistant instructor. Assistant instructor is now where I have responsibility of now just making sure everyone's behaving, but I can teach a little. So if I have 3 kids falling behind on something, I can go, hey, David, you're my assistant today. Take these 3 kids and help them with this form. Their next step, maybe at 15 or 18 months, they're an instructor. They conduct the creed. So if we're doing the student creed, they can run that part of class. They can do the warm-up. They can do the high-energy finish. So now by the time they're 16 years old, 12 months or so in the training, they are my bench. I mean, they could be in line for the next person that I need to become a paid instructor. So the whole idea is the mindset. I want to have staff. I want to have bench strength. I'm no longer just teaching new students the black belt, but everyone who comes into my school is an instructor candidate. What can I do along the way that I'm developing this person into a leader that can also teach? Now, is everyone going to be on the bench? No. But your chances of getting on the bench are much better if from day one you're starting your instructor training. Too often we say, well, a guy has to be a black belt. So we look at our black belts. And, we're just talking to Mr. Gavento. He did some black belts the other day. I think he's doing 10 more today. But that's 10. He doesn't promote instructors or black belts a lot. But you sign up a lot of students. So you don't want to have just, okay, I have this many black belts. Out of this many black belts, I'm going to look for staff. You go, I got this many students. Out of that many students, everyone's going to be trained to become an instructor. And then the people that rise to the top, which should be a lot more than just black belts, they have the opportunity to help me. And through those, you're going to find the people that are looking for a career. I really think it starts where we're looking for either older kids or teenagers. So your number one step is, how am I going to start getting more of that age into my group? I remember I had this business consultant. His name was Mark Gillinson. And he did a roundtable with my instructors and my students, a lot of the kids in the school. And he says, what do people think about East-West Karate in town? I mean, when you go to school, parents, when you go and you're talking to social groups, what's the image or the reputation of East-West Karate? And it was resounding. East-West Karate is a kid's school. And Mark goes, this is all cool, but you have 3 high schools in Coral Springs, Florida. Each high school has 5,000 kids. You have 15,000 teenage kids that could possibly become instructors. That's a big segment of the market. He goes, you need a new instructor. Greg, you're a good instructor. You need a younger, more dynamic instructor. Cool, okay, that's where I hired Mark Russo. He says, you need to get these kids involved. They got to do demos. They've got to go on to competition teams. It's got to be cooler to do martial arts than it is with the kids. He says, get them their own class. I go, I don't have a lot of teens. He goes, well, once you have like 15 or 20, do your own class. For you guys are going up to Paul Garcia's this weekend. Ask him about the first teenage class that he ever taught at my school in Coral Springs. I remember he ran in the office because we had over 100 teens in a single class. And he called the school up in Rhode Island and goes, you would believe it, there's 100 teenagers in this class. It took me a while to get there. A lot of those teens were 11 and 12-year-olds that I got that I just kept long enough so they did become instructors. So I hope that gives you a lot of room for thought, thinking about, okay, I'm not building black belts, I'm building instructors. What does my curriculum have to look like? And since they really don't have to be black belts to help me teach younger kids, what's the ladder of success? Instead of, white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, purple belt, is it volunteer, demo team, assistant, junior instructor? Come up with a good a ladder of success. I just wrote this down fast. I thought it had a lot of value. That's why I want to share it right away. But you may be able to want to come up with different benchmarks for yourself. Any questions or comments? Food for thought for anyone? All right, for everyone who's on, it's going to Paul Garcia's. Paul added 2 segments for Friday night. He's got his teenager, junior instructors, and we actually watch one of their classes. So that's going to be one thing. I think that's at 6 o'clock. On 7 o'clock, he's having his Facebook marketing team come in and talk about Facebook marketing. His school's name's America's Best Defense. It's in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Just check out his Facebook page. His Facebook page, even the header is a video. He does a lot of unique stuff, a lot of videos. So during the classes on Friday night, he's having a videographer, a video, and he's going to talk about how he's going to use that video to create commercials for his Facebook. So we just added that on, but that should be a lot of valuable for Friday night. Okay, guys. Good to talk to you. I will post this video up sometime this afternoon. And David, have you got your logo yet?
No, but we're getting closer. Basically, I'm trying to track down vector files and understand all that in between. Yeah, we haven't got it yet, but we're working towards it.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Brown, hopefully I'll talk to you on Thursday. All right, sir. Take care, everyone. Thank you.